I'm Scott Lucas. This is today's EA Worldview on Iran. The Iranian fleet arriving on U.S. shores. Yes, that's right. Throughout the mainstream media last week, there was the story about how an Iranian fleet for the first time was entering the Atlantic Ocean. But not just entering the Atlantic Ocean. The headlines blared that it was going to be off the U.S. maritime coast. Now, I'm not sure what the U.S. maritime coast is. I don't know if it's 12 miles off the coast of the U.S., 200 miles off the coast of the U.S., in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. It sure sounded dramatic. Citizens of New York, beware. The Iranians are coming. Prepare your defenses. Oh, okay. Let's back this up. Where did the mainstream media get this story from? Well, it appears that an Iranian naval commander last Saturday announced that an Iranian fleet had not only been dispatched, it was rounding the coast of South Africa. That's right, it was moving from the Indian Ocean all the way south into the Atlantic Ocean. You may realize that South Africa is still several thousand miles away from New York, Washington, Virginia, Georgia, even Miami. But it was entering the Atlantic. Oh wait, let's step back just a bit more. So what was this fleet that had entered the Atlantic? Well, in fact, last month we knew about this because the Iranian Navy had said we are dispatching a total of two ships as part of this fleet. This was a destroyer and a helicopter carrier. A helicopter carrier, by the way, which could carry a sum total of 3 helicopters. Yeah, that was the fleet. I'm not a naval expert, but look, 2 ships and 3 helicopters doesn't make a fleet. I don't think it even makes a flotilla. It might not even qualify as an excursion. It certainly isn't a menacing Iranian threat. But hey, never mind. These ships were supposedly somewhere. So look, if this really isn't an imminent Iranian invasion of the United States, what is it? A couple points of perspective. First of all, Iran is in the middle of 10 days celebrating the anniversary of the Islamic Revolution. Now, when Iran celebrates the anniversary of the Islamic Revolution, there's a lot of tough talk. There's talk about how Iran has stood up against threats throughout its 35 years, such as the Iraq War of the 1980s, pressure from other countries in the Middle East, Israel, of course, and, of course, the United States. As part of this tough talk, the Iranian military points to its planes, its tanks, its boats, and says, look, not only are we strong, we will triumph over the West in the long run. And so the Atlantic Ocean threat, or approaching the coast of the United States, is part of that chest puffing. Second point, we're in the middle of nuclear negotiations between Iran, the United States, and the 5+1 powers. Now, Iran is not retreating from those negotiations. The Rouhani government is committed to it. So is the supreme leader. But they want to maintain a strong line. They don't want to just give away concessions. So the military steps in and says, you know, the United States might be talking about all military options on the table. True. And they might be using that talk of all military options on the table to try to put pressure on Iran. Also true. But guess what? We're stronger than they are, so we don't have to worry about these negotiations because ultimately we will defeat them if they invade us. Not quite true, but it's a tactic. Here's the stinger to the story. Yesterday, on the actual anniversary of the Islamic Revolution, another naval commander popped up, and he said, our mighty fleet, remember, 2 boats, our mighty fleet is now off the Gulf of Aden. Wait a minute. The Gulf of Aden is near the Arabian Peninsula. That's right. Between Saturday, when the fleet was supposedly rounding South Africa, and Tuesday, when it was off the coast of the Arabian Peninsula, it had moved backwards several hundred miles. Quite a very interesting maneuver if you're approaching the United States. Citizens of New York, I don't want to be complacent, but I don't think you have to pick up your small arms quite yet. The Iranians aren't coming. This is Scott Lucas. with today's EA Worldview on Iran.